So the first thing that you're going to want to do when drawing is figure out where your horizon line is on your page. I have it here about halfway down. The horizon line is equal to your eye level. So if you were to hold up your pencil level with your eye, that's where your eye level would be, and that's where your horizon line would be, all right? So on your horizon line is your vanishing point, which I've marked there with the little pink dot. Let's say you're drawing an object, whether it's a building or a piece of furniture, and it crosses eye level. That means that that is going to cross the horizon line. So here I'm drawing orthogonals from the two corners to the vanishing point. I'm establishing the depth of my cube here, as you can see me kind of darkening that face of the cube. So if this were an opaque cube or box or building, I would be able to stop there. But let's say I was drawing an open box or a transparent box. I'd be able to see the other faces of the cube and the back of the cube by drawing two more orthogonals from the other two corners to the vanishing point, and then connecting the back corners of my cube to those orthogonals. And you'll see that those lines that I'm drawing in now are horizontal lines. So students tend to get those lines a little bit wonky. You want to make sure that those back horizontal lines are parallel with the front horizontal lines of your cube. And I'll just darken up here those orthogonals and that back face of the cube so you can see it a little bit better. And I'll erase the orthogonals where they cross that back square. But I'm not going to be erasing my orthogonals because I want you to be able to see that all of those lines that are perpendicular to the face of the cube are going to the vanishing point. And that's really what's key to linear perspective, is thinking about lines that are parallel and perpendicular to one another. In one point perspective, any lines that are going the same direction as the face of your cube are going to be parallel to those lines. Any lines that are faces that are perpendicular, that are going away from the face of that cube, are going to go to the vanishing point. Okay, so now our eye level is still at the horizon line, but let's imagine that we're looking up. So we're just kind of looking up towards the sky, and there is an object above us. Okay, so this might be, let's say we're on ground level and there's a balcony coming off of a building, and that balcony is above us. We, of course, would be able to see the bottom of that building. So when we draw this next cube, we're going to be able to see the bottom of the cube. Okay, so I'm going to start off with drawing a basic rectangle with horizontal and vertical lines, making sure I have 90-degree corners. And I'm going to draw those three orthogonal lines to the vanishing point and establish the depth of the rectangle here. So I want to make sure that that horizontal and vertical line that I use to establish the depth, those two lines are in fact parallel to that original rectangle, and that they're not at a wonky angle. So now I have an opaque cube here above eye level, and if I were drawing an opaque shape, I would be done. And you'll notice that now, as opposed to the shape that crossed the horizon line, now I can actually see the bottom of that shape. So I can see the underside of that cube, which I'll shade in here for you to see better. Now let's say that this was not an opaque shape. Maybe it's open in the front or it's transparent. I can draw that fourth orthogonal line from that upper left corner, and then I can connect those corners. So that back right corner and that bottom left back corner, I can connect those corners to that last orthogonal line, making another rectangle that establishes the back side of that cube. You can see my line was a little off there, so I just had to tweak it slightly, and that shows me my cube now with the back face showing, and I can just put in a little bit of shading there to show you what part, if I were looking at this, let's say it was, you know, a stacked cardboard box that was above eye level, and I could just see a little bit of that back face peeking through, so I can kind of shade that in just a little bit for you to see where that would be. So there's the back of the box. So I see the bottom of the box, I see the back of the box, inside, you know, I'm basically looking inside of the box. And then I would see the right edge of that box as well. And that's because I'm drawing this box to the left of the vanishing point, which really means actually that my eye is on the right-hand side. So this is as if I drew the little eyeball icon on the left, but in reality, what we're looking at is we're really looking at me standing on the right-hand side looking to the left. And that's how come I can see the left side of that box and the bottom side of that box. Okay, so now we are going to imagine again, horizon line is the same, which means eye level is the same, but this time we're looking down. So we're looking at something that's below us. And of course, that means that now instead of seeing the bottom of the box, we're going to be able to see the top of the box. So again, drawing a rectangle with perfect horizontal and vertical lines and 90-degree angles, starting with 2 orthogonals here. This just happens to be placed very closely to being right aligned with the horizon line, which is why I only have really 2 orthogonal lines. You can see that third orthogonal line on the bottom left corner is almost the same as the one above it. And then I drew that 4th orthogonal line on the bottom right. So here I'm just darkening up. This is the top of my box, which I can see because it is below eye level. And I'm just darkening up the face of the box, which is facing me. And so that 3rd and 4th orthogonal line, I would only see if the box were transparent, or if the box, you know, it were open and I was looking inside of it, I would be able to see part of those lines. But if I were to draw those lines in, I would then be taking, again, horizontal and vertical lines so that they're parallel to the original rectangle I drew to draw in the back of the box. So those lines would match up to those orthogonal lines. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just add a little bit of value on the top here just to show the top of that cube. And you can imagine if you were looking on the inside, you would see that little edge, inner edge from the inside that's shown by those other 2 orthogonal lines. So we just looked at 3 examples of using 1-point perspective to draw boxes, but this same theory can apply to other shapes as well. So I'm just sketching out here just a basic star shape to show you how the same rules would apply. So again, the star is above eye level, so I am going to be looking up at it. I'll be able to see the bottom edge. So from each of the corners or any angle, whether it's the outer angle or the inner angles, I'm drawing an orthogonal line, and that's going to show me the edges of my star, making it more 3-dimensional. So going across there, and then when I connect those lines, when I connect all of those orthogonal lines, any connecting lines I make will just be parallel to the shape of the star. So obviously the star is not made with horizontal and vertical lines, it's made with angled lines. So I'll just mimic those same angles as I connect those orthogonal lines. Okay, throw in some kind of quick shading there, just fill in those shapes that I made, and you can see how using 1-point perspective, we really quickly transformed a 2-dimensional star into a 3-dimensional shape. I'll do the same thing with this letter K here, just with a block letter. So from all of the points of that K, I'm going to draw an orthogonal line to my vanishing point. Of course, I'll be able to see the left edge of the letter and the top of the letter because it's to the left of the vanishing point and below the vanishing point. So I drew all of those orthogonal lines in, and now I will just connect those orthogonal lines to create the depth. And those lines that I'm drawing here are mimicking the same direction as that original letter K that I drew in. And then I can throw in some quick shading on those. And again, you'll see how that two-dimensional shape of the K gets transformed into a three-dimensional form using one-point perspective. So to recap here, the horizon line and the vanishing point really set up what your point of view is and therefore what you're going to see of the object you're drawing. So using this K as an example, if I draw my little eyeball up there, I would be standing eye level with the horizon line looking to the left. So I'm seeing the right edge of that K. I am not seeing the other side of the K, the left edge of the K, and I am not seeing the bottom of the K. So when you're drawing from observation, take a moment to ask yourself, what am I seeing? Am I seeing the left edge, the right edge? Am I seeing the top? Am I seeing the bottom? That'll help you establish where your horizon line is and where your vanishing point is, and it'll get you on the right start for your drawing.